Hey y'all, how you perking? I hope you perking good. So, here we are for the highly anticipated video on 2024 year-long predictions for the United States specifically. Oh dear, this one I can tell is going to be a big one. It always makes me a little bit nervous to film the full year videos for the United States because it just has the potential to get pretty wild every time. So here we are, gonna do this together here just in case it matters. At the time of filming right now, it is 3:29 p.m. Come on, well, 3:30 p.m. on, what did that say? Tuesday, February 6th. I don't know what today is. Tuesday, February 6th. So in case that ends up becoming pertinent information at some point, I always like to put that out there. Sometimes these things start coming true faster than I intend them to come true. And it's good to timestamp stuff so that people won't be like, you're saying what you already know. It's like, no, here's the time, here's the day and time. So just in case, putting that out there for insurance. But today, as usual, we're going to take a look at some predictions, figure out what we can know, what we need to know, what we should know. And Penelope is here assisting me that her red's matching my red. Yay. So, I am a licensed mental health clinician as well as a spiritual intuitive. And in these videos, we take a look at the tea with the tarot. Don't let that scare you. Got a great track record here on the channel. Good track record. So, let me go ahead and bring up the cards over here. Move this microphone right here, and we'll get shuffled up. So, if you happen to be an international viewer, then go ahead and raise your hand in the comments so that we can see how many international viewers care to watch a video that's specifically dedicated to the United States. I'm telling you, there's all the time people that are like, well, I think it affects my country too, so I just want to be here. Or I'm just nosy because y'all are a dumpster fire over there. And all of those things are valid. All that's valid. So let's go ahead and get shuffled up. I am not going to follow any particular, like, I guess, list or rubric or whatever topics, you know, like I usually do for our monthly predictions. This time I'm gonna just see what comes up, and if there's any particular questions that I feel called to ask as things come up, then I will ask them. But I'm gonna kind of start off broad, letting the spirit guides guide the way, take the lead, take the reins, take this wherever in the world they want it to go. So, as always, I'll let you just my interpretation. Okay, I'll let you just my interpretation. So, let's see here. Where would y'all like to start, spirit guides? 2024, the entire year, the United States, what we can know, what we need to know, etc. All right, y'all. We're jumping in. Oh, nice. The very first card is a interesting way to just jump in. Wow, so is that. Nice. Okay. Okay. So, this is already popping off some stuff here in terms of legal battles and people really coming at each other over it. So already, just the top row alone by itself, we've got these two reversed cards here, the Two of Cups in reverse and the Three of Pentacles in reverse. So this is not playing well in the sandbox at all. At all. And the World card, meaning several things here. One, that things are going to come full circle, that there's something about this year as it relates to these relationships going sour and the justice system, things legally panning out. There's some kind of a coming full circle that's going to go on, first of all, and then second of all, that this will have eyes on it across the world. So this is something that the world will be interested in. A lot of people across the world anyway, will be interested in, that focuses on the United States. So again, something about these people not playing well in the sandbox, completely on opposing sides, relationships souring, things going really wrong in that respect. The Justice card coming here makes me feel like whatever this situation is, again, that there's some sort of a legal component to it. Something that's people are using laws, precedents. We hear that word getting thrown out around a lot lately. The court systems, things like that coming up. With it coming up in the upright position, I don't know how people will view this as these things come down the pipeline. I understand that a lot of what may come up here may end up being very controversial later when we see more about what it means. But with this coming up in the upright position, it means that the justice system worked in this case. So there may be, once we find out later on in this year what this was, the courts were doing certain things, blah, 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 certain decisions were made from however we're receiving this information from the spirit guides. They're just putting it out there. This is kind of like, yeah, that's justice in this case. That's justice. So somehow, some kind of a way, this will be seen as, legally fair or just, or what was supposed to happen, what needed to happen, what should have happened, etc. I don't know that all people will agree with that, because we've got over here the High Priestess card that is just sandwiched between dark and light, black and white, like just literally stuck between two polarizing views. So again, there's a lot of polarizing energy in this very first pool that doesn't really come as a surprise in and of itself, given that we're talking about the United States here, and the climate here has become more and more polarized over the years. We've predicted that here on the channel. We've seen that coming up here on the channel for years, the rubber band effect that I've always been talking about. And so I see an increase in that, and people have brought this to my attention, and I agree that in a lot of my past readings for the last 4 or even 5 years, 2024 keeps coming up specifically. That year specifically, this year specifically, has been coming up in these tarot readings for the last 4 or 5 years as being one of the biggest years in this decade of 2020 to 2030. One of the biggest years. A potential climactic year. A potential pivot point year. And the cards have been alluding to that already for 4 or 5 years now. So people who've been on the channel for a while, y'all have heard me say it repeatedly. And this very well could be what that's around. Notice that we get the Strength card in the end here for this too. The Strength card upright in its strong position. So that's good, because that means whatever happens, there's going to be a way to wrangle this beast and for things to go okay. Just because certain things go in the direction that they should, or that for some reason they're supposed to, doesn't necessarily mean it won't be difficult, doesn't necessarily mean it won't be messy, doesn't necessarily mean there won't be some sort of literal or figurative casualties in that. So with the outcome being good here, and from this perspective, that again doesn't necessarily mean that the process is comfortable or pretty. So we should kind of take that in mind. I feel like, wow, we like really just jumped in and dove in, and this went like diving in head first in the deep end. We didn't have a chance as this reading opened to walk around the pool a little bit, stick our toes in the shallow end by the steps, walk in little by little so that, first we get our legs wet, and then we take a long time before we get our crotch wet because cold, and then take a long time before our belly button wet because cold, and a long time before boobs wet because cold. We didn't get that luxury here. They're like, here you go. Dive headfirst into the deep end off of one of those, tall Olympic boards. That's what this feels like. So, okay. This may be at least one of the catalysts for whatever kind of climactic energy we are going to see in 2024. Again, broken relationships, not playing well in the sandbox, two opposing sides, polarization, fighting, and all kinds of not seeing eye to eye. Things relative to that have been brewing and building for a while, coming full circle in such a big way that others across the world are interested in watching it play out. It plays out in some sort of a legal way. We're talking, again, laws, precedents, courts, things like that. Very legal way. It is going to leave people really, I hate for this to be even more polarized than it is now. Like every year we're like, it cannot get more outstretched than it already is. Like we are going to break. We're the rubber band's going to snap. It can't stretch anymore. And yet here it is, stuck between the dark and light, good and bad, black and white, whatever that you want to call it. But we have to hold to the fact that we get our strength card here at the end. Again, things can be rocky, they can be sloppy, they can be messy, they can be uncomfortable, but at least coming up with the strength card in the end is still a good sign. So no matter what this ends up looking like, even if preliminarily, that's a hard one to say for me, things seem to be what you would think, like, oh no, how is that the direction that it's supposed to go? How is that just? How is that fair? How is that legally balanced? Like, no, this is screwed up. What? Even if you think that way as this starts coming down the pipeline, the guides are kind of asking that we just pause any kind of, fast judgments we may have around that and kind of reflect, why would this be something that's supposed to happen? What in our spiritual, energetic, collective evolution of sorts that we are going, what purpose would it serve for these things to happen the way that they end up happening? There will be some sort of reason that contributes to our advancement, our growth, our expansion, our learning. Some kind of a way this will contribute to that. And we just have to see what that is and find a way to appreciate it for the reason that it is, for the catalyst that it is. We have to find a way to appreciate that. So we really need to keep our eyes and ears open and our minds open, first and foremost, because this looks like, again, it's going to be a polarizing, I hate to keep saying it, issue, controversial issue. And so if we can bring any pause to that and see, why is this a step towards the higher good? What is this that contributes to our expansion and growth? Why do we need this experience to get to another side? There will be an answer there, and we need to look for that. So already starting out like, woo! And we're less than 15 minutes into this. So let me pull these up, try to get some other information about the year, but they just really kind of busted out the stables in this very first one. I tell you what, damn, this is nice. So as I get shuffled up here for us to pull some more, see what else, I'm scared to ask, but what else 2024 has to offer to the United States as I am shuffling up here. For those of you who like extra stuff, like extended videos, weekly forecasts, so you know what's kind of coming up every single week on a play-by-play, little perks, your own little Penelope that you can have by your name, all these things. If you like these things, then you can be a member of the Perk Squad to get extra perks, and that's the blue join button below or the link in the description box. And one of the perks is a video shout out every video to a Perk Squad member. So video shout out today is to Maria. Let me do your last name right. Cyril Hiro? Maria Cyril Hiro? Cyril Hero? I don't want to say it wrong in my shout out, but shout out to you, Maria Cyril Hero. Thank you for being a member of the Perk Squad. I apologize that I'm mispronouncing your name. Let me know in the comments how you say it. I did try to educate myself and look it up online before I gave the shout out, and there were literally both of those pronunciations going back and forth, depending on if you kind of pronounce it more from a United States way or if you pronounce it more like from people with Portuguese backgrounds. I don't know, but Maria Cyril Hero, welcome to the Perk Squad. Thank you for being here, and thank you for being here despite the fact that I apparently cannot pronounce your last name. So thank you, and welcome to the Perk Squad. We're happy to have you. So, y'all, I've shuffled a ton here. I'm going to take a sip. Let's hydrate my LiQWYD. LiQWYD. I know I'm being extra. Ooh, this one looked like it was about to flip, so I'm going to take it out. This one too, because it's on the edge. Let's just see what else the guides have for us. United States, 2024. I'm scared. But we're looking. I'm scared, but we're looking. Oh, man. Okay. Alrighty. This card is coming up again, if you take notice. After all that freaking shuffling, still we get this card. So they're not quite yet ready to let go of the overarching topic of the last thing we spoke about. This is probably going to go a different angle, but there's some kind of a thing that relates the last spread to this one. So something ties them together. And the tie here is about broken relationships, things going sour, people being at each other, against each other, that kind of thing. That is the theme that's carrying over from the last one to this one. Not like we want to see that energy here again, but we do. So let's go ahead and move forward on that. What they're showing here are Knight of Pentacles in reverse, dudes dropping the ball. 10 of Wands in reverse, dudes dropping these sticks. Queen of Pentacles in reverse, woman's dropping this ball. Like, one after another, these people are fumbling. These people are fumbling. Like, whatever it is that they had holding up together, they're dropping it. They had something, they are fumbling. And this looks like it could be, I don't really want to say embarrassing, but I'm going to say embarrassing for them. Like, it looks rough. Matter of fact, just throwing it out there of something that this reminds me of. May not be it, but I'm just kind of putting it out there of what it reminds me of. Things going on in politics right now, again, as of February, what's today? February 6th, 2024, things going on in politics. This is kind of reminding me of like how many people are kind of dropping out of the races like flies. Like we have what's happened recently. I'm trying to stay plugged in to politics a little bit, but I just now finished my 3rd job and I still have 2 jobs. So I'm not always able to be super plugged in, but I do know like we had people drop out with like the Republicans going on about here. There was one guy that dropped out. He was a new guy. I don't remember his name. It was a long name. Started with a V or something like that. Then the Florida dude, Ron DeSantis, dropping out. So it's like here we've got 2 dudes and a woman. The only woman I can think of is Nikki Haley. And the reason why I remember her name so well is because, as most of y'all know on the channel, here I am sitting in South Carolina. She was our governor at one point in time. I'm not trying to say anything against the lady, you know. I didn't vote for her. But I often don't vote purely Democrat or Republican. Those, my views don't get contained by one side or the other. Fun fact, I'll insert a video here if I have some pictures. I actually have met her before, and I've eaten lunch with her in her house before, in her mansion. So I've met her and ate lunch with her, sat beside her, and like I said, I kind of feel guilty. I didn't even vote for her or whatever, but I mean, again, it's not like I'm crap talking her either. But yeah, if I have that from way back in the day, it's probably been like 10 years, maybe 15 years. I don't know. It's been a minute, since that happened. And the reason why I was over there eating lunch at her house is because I got invited because, sorry for going on a tangent. Halfway, I'm sorry, halfway, this is my channel. Hello, welcome. I'm a talkative person. You're here, so maybe by now you know this about me. But I was invited because I was working for the state at the time and had done a lot of like humanitarian work, being a good steward to the public and stuff like that. And I got like an award for, the work that I was doing, trying to help people. And the prize of winning that award is that you got to be at a luncheon with the governor, with other people at other agencies around the state who also won the award. So I got to eat over there. So if I can find some pictures, I'll put a little video of that in somewhere. So here I am in front of her mansion. There it is, the outside before we go inside. So here she has a picture of herself. Yep, gotta do that apparently. Nice atrium though, I like that. Nice natural lighting there. More of her house, and then the dining room table where we ate, and my little place setting specifically. And then here we are outside in our old lady suit sets, looking weird, doing pics. But anyway, moving back to this, that's what this top row reminds me of. Dropping out like flies, dropping out, dropping out, dropping out. And then we've got this going at it type of vibe down here between these two wands cards. Y'all, it feels like it's describing the energy of what people are like, oh no, are we going down the same path again? Are we getting close to something that's like, Trump or Biden again? Like, what's happening? Well, we see people dropping out. We see this like butting heads and clashing, and then yet we see these two wands cards. And interestingly, they're both wands, so there's a similarity here, but one is considered a page and one is considered a two. So very, very interesting dynamic that they want to put here. I shouldn't, but I'm gonna pull a context card on this one and a context card on this one. Just to, I'm not trying to stir the pot, but I kind of am a little. Just because I'm interested. So here, let's just take a little peek. This is going to be a long video, and it is what it is. Some of y'all have said that you'd rather get more context, more information, allow it to be longer than shorter. And so I've been trying to keep some videos at a relatively short timeline. This one, I'll just let it go. And I apologize in advance for people that are like, I prefer 15-minute videos. Okay, I'm sorry. So a little more on this person. Ooh, a little more on this person. Ooh, ho-ho. Okay, so in this battle, we've got this person here who has been burned in the past. Burned completely. This person here has a decision to make. The decision has not yet been made. The decision still needs to be made relative to this person. This page card is kind of a messenger energy. So whichever one of the people here, again, I'm interpreting this as Trump versus Biden, that we've got one of them as being like, I just by existing am a messenger of sorts, And there is a decision to be made on this. And this person is like, I, just by existing, am trying to hold the world in my hands and show that we don't have to go this way or this way. We can take some other kind of path. There's some kind of like this person wants to take not a middle path necessarily, just a third path of sorts. They don't want to take a natural, this way or that way, what we would maybe be used to, but a third path. But this person has been burned, apparently. They've been hurt. They've been what they would consider screwed over. Whether that's real or not, that's their feelings on this. So I'm putting it down there and, letting them have that. So let's get a little bit more. So on this person is... This person is fast. Knight of Swords. We got to speed. We got to go. We got to forward, ahead. This person is more of the I'm going to sit and watch and wait and observe and just hang out here. These people could not be more polar opposites, but interestingly, still both of them with the baseline of being wands. So both of them have the same baseline here, but all of the other stuff is different. It's kind of like, oh man, how do I put this? It's kind of like if you have two computers in front of you and they're both PC computers. They're both PCs. They both run on Windows operating systems. But this has all this software and programs on it, and this has all this software and programs on it. And so they're being used for different kinds of things, and all the details are very different. But the backbone of both of them is the same. The underlying stuff on them is the same, but all the details are different. It's very weird how they're presenting it this way, but I'm going to go with it because why not? Let's see, maybe just one more pull. So on this person that's like speed, fast, we've got the Empress card in reverse. Okay, I'm going to put this out there as a throwback. If we're going pile to pile and it looks like this pile is talking about a dynamic between Trump versus Biden, I would say that this would be the Trump pile. And the reason why I would say that, not because of anything that's come before this point, but if you've been on this channel for a long time and you remember our readings around the 2020 election, for whatever reason, the Empress card and the Emperor card both kept coming up for Trump. And I couldn't understand, why is this feminine energy coming in and it kind of represents Trump? Nobody really looks at him or thinks of him and thinks feminine energy in any kind of way. I still don't understand why that is. To be frank, I still don't know why this card keeps somehow symbolizing him. The Empress is the mother of all the tarot. I don't know why there would be that type of energy coming in around Trump. If any of you have any guesses, or any, gut impressions, then feel free to put those in the comments, please. I don't understand why I would be seeing that, but for those of y'all who have been around this channel for the last 4 years, I'm sure y'all remember seeing that coming up and be like, oh, that's odd. We've talked about this before. So that's why I think this. So then if this is the current President Biden pile, his Magician card is upright. That's actually a kind of powerful card here to be upright for this one to come up in reverse in this situation, because this is someone that's got access to all these things. This person in and of themselves is often, just oh my God, I almost said regular Joe Schmo, but Joe Biden is his name. Oh Jesus, I swear I did not mean to say that and try to be silly or funny with that, but that's just what came to my head. But seriously, the Magician could be just a regular Joe Schmo, but they're an alchemist. They have resources to all of these things. This person has the wands in the tarot, the cups in the tarot, the pentacles in the tarot, the swords in the tarot, and they're able to use all these resources together to wield what they need. And so he's really got access here. he's really able to be the alchemist. He's able to be like, yeah, I may not have stuff together. I've got people all around me and resources all around me to have that, to do that, to be what I need. And, you know, this person can, quote unquote, make magic happen. So this is a crazy dynamic here. And I know what this means. I've already said it a couple times now that I know that this is going to call for its own separate video at some point, because here we are 30 minutes through this video. We've only gotten through 2 types of things, both of which are most likely political. We haven't gotten to anything else about the United States in 2024, and we really need to touch on a lot of different topics and not just politics. But that means this is really going to need its own video, because I can just imagine the minutia and the details of the things that are going to come through this. And technically, I will call your attention to this. Technically, in the past, within the last year or so, I think, I've done a video that was dedicated specifically to Trump, and I've done a video that was dedicated specifically to Biden. And in both videos, things did not look super good for either of the men. If you haven't seen those, you may want to go back, through my videos and look for those specifically. But there were things coming up for Trump where it was saying strong in the beginning and things starting to get really, really rough as time went on. And so far that has been happening to him. And then the one with Biden was like things just going wrong and him having a hard time, and like just him being the center of a shit show of misfortune. And so things were not necessarily looking good for him either. So you can go back to those 2 videos if you'd like to before I get to a separate video of them, updated for 2024. Because I just already know that this is going to need its own moment here, because this that we just teased apart was pretty intense in and of itself, and we only went 4 cards deep. But oh man, this year, I'm telling you, there's a climactic energy, a culmination energy, and again, we're talking about the 2 poles pulling as far as the rubber band can stretch, and at some point, it's got to break. And it's been alluding to the fact that 2024 could be the year it breaks. So again, let's stay hydrated. Let's take another sip. Let's shuffle this up and get ready for another pull. We have plenty of other things I'm sure that we need to cover beyond just these kind of political themes here for the United States in 2024. We've got plenty of other things we need to cover. So let's look through that. I'm going to get shuffled up, and as I'm shuffling, if you would like a private reading with me, then you can go to my website, BeasTalksAndTarot.com, and schedule a private reading with me. I can do short private readings, longer private readings. We do Reiki Energy Healing for clearing and cleansing and kind of getting everything set and straight. Got some insights that I can share with you as I do that as well. Life coaching for people that are just like, okay, I'm disappointed, I'm stressed out, I just need help. How do I move forward with this? So we can do life coaching. And then for people who just want to learn how to read the cards the way I read the cards, then I also offer tarot tutoring on there. So BeasTalksAndTarot.com, and I can hook you up. Alrighty, so let's see, what else, spirit guides, can we know, should we know about the United States 2024? Let's see here. Okay. One at a time. Oh, man. Fuck. Okay. It's all right. I'm like, fuck, it's all right. Okay. We're just gonna go with it. Yeah, we're just gonna go with it. Okay, so also in a previous reading, and I want to say that this was in maybe the worldwide 2023 predictions video, or maybe the United States 2023 predictions video. It was in one of those videos, something came up about the United States and China. And I'm seeing that come up again because how that came up last time was when they gave me a sun card. So here we've got the sun card in a reversed position here. And so this is looking like deepening issues related to China in 2024 with the United States. So something about that relationship getting more tenuous and tense and stressful in 2024. I don't know why it gets worse. I just see that it does get worse. And it gets worse because of not being able to be on the same page about something. These other reversals here surround it with the Seven of Swords in reverse and the Star card in reverse. So there's some kind of disputing, not seeing eye to eye, not being on the same page here that makes relationships a little bit more challenging. And then as we go down here, we've got all of these cards here are Wands cards, but this one being in reverse, these being upright. And so it feels like here they're talking about that there's something, oh God, they're getting me all choked up. Every time I talk about something that it's like teetering on not being allowed to say, they like clamp my throat up in the middle of something. It doesn't happen often, but if y'all have been here on the channel a while, it does happen every once in a while. And it's uncomfortable, but I'm going to say it because I have it out here. So for whatever reason, my guides think that I am allowed to say it, and I don't know what thinks I'm not allowed to say it. But that's why I've got my black salt here. I'm going to hold that bag over here in my receptive hand, the left hand, and I'm going to push through. So with this bottom row, there's something here in terms of the United States-China relations, where it seems like the United States is going to put themselves in what would be seen as an unsuccessful position, because this card coming up in the reverse, putting themselves in some kind of a disadvantaged position, like that they would have a choice here, and they choose the unfortunate choice. With the Nine of Wands upright, this is a good sign to show that the United States is still going to be okay. Like, I don't see this as being a be-all, end-all dire situation, but I see it as like, okay, yeah, you're standing, but you've taken a lot of knocks here, and so you're not standing well. You've been beat up pretty bad. Like, good job for still getting back up on your feet, but you're not doing well. This isn't what I would call success. This is what I call, now you're going to be walking forward with a limp because of how you've proceeded forward, what you've let happen to yourself. So there's just something here where that comes in. Again, I see the United States having something here that keeps them going, and it's this little black cat. So how I'm going to phrase that here, y'all have heard me call this black cat Little Great Mystery. I like to name this cat. And it's just that added little mysteriousness, that's something that is kind of kept to the vest. So it's like there's something that keeps the United States okay in this matter because they've got something that they're able to keep close to the vest. There's something that is leverage, or that they're able to use as collateral, or that there's a bargaining chip, or that there's a thing for blackmail, or something. There's just something that they've got up their sleeve that they're able to hold on to that helps keep their head above water, and whatever this is here. But this is stressful and tense because this doesn't look particularly good, and it looks like there are decisions that the U.S. can make that could improve this, but it doesn't look like that happens. It looks like whatever the decisions that the U.S. can make in 2024 relative to this, they make the worst decision. they choose the wrong direction, the wrong choice. Maybe their head's in the right place, I don't know, but they made the wrong choice. Maybe their heart's in the right place, I don't know, but they make the wrong choice. So either way, this gets tenuous. And what this reminds me of, again, I swear, when I do these like overall kind of readings, like broad readings, it reminds me of previous readings. And that's actually a good thing. I don't mind the fact that all of my readings seem to come up with similar themes or seem to repeat certain things that they say, because you want continuity in readings. If somebody, one day is like, this is going to happen, and then the next day this opposite thing is going to happen, and then the next day this other thing that's not related to those two is going to happen, then you're like, dude, you're all over the fucking place. So it's good to have some semblance of like themes and threads making sense and receiving the same kind of information from one thing to the next, because that's nice and steady. That's what we want to see here. And so what this is reminding me of is I did a reading one time. What was it called? If I can't find it fast, then I'll abandon what I'm trying to do here. But there was a certain reading that was like about the, it's not even, my internet is not even working over here, so I guess I'm not going to be able to pull it up at all. But either way, there was a reading, I want to say at least a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, about the future of the United States and the potential fall of the United States. Is the United States going to fail or things like that? And people got really mad at me in that reading because they're like, you're fear-mongering, you're saying things that's going to scare people and upset people about the United States, because it was showing things in there about how the United States, in terms of how it acts or presents, or some themes or things that it thinks is valuable, etc., was going to start to transition a little bit more over time towards like China, like how the Chinese do, that there were going to be some things that they do that we start taking after them a little bit, or that there's going to be some things that we do that kind of screws the pooch on our end, and they end up having even more advantages because of whatever it is that they focus on. And so they start getting a bit more powerful, and we start, I don't want to say losing power necessarily, but losing our stronghold on some of those types of things. And it looks like over time that it's more likely that China would be eventually more powerful than the United States. And there was a lot that came up in that reading. So again, if you want to go back and look at that, then you can. I was not trying to fearmonger. I was just saying what I see. And at least in all fairness, it kind of looked like, again, a very long time type of, oh God, I'm sorry, Penelope, long time type of stretched out thing that kind of slowly evolved over years and years. So it didn't look like some kind of like, oh, this is scary and it's a horrible thing, and it didn't look like that. It looked a little bit more like it creeps up on us kind of thing. The whole, what's that adage or parable or whatever it's called that people say about the frog and boiling water, about like if it was boiling water and you tried to put a frog in, immediately it'd be trying to get out because it would notice, ow, that hurts. But if you set a frog in lukewarm water and then slowly start raising the temperature little by little, then it wouldn't notice quite as easily that it was reaching a boiling point until maybe it's too late. That kind of a thing is how it seemed to present itself in that video. And that's reminding me of this, that there's something here in the 2024 United States relationship with China where those things start to, come into the fold a little bit. So there's going to be pieces of that, breadcrumbs of that, if you will, that we're going to see in 2024. And it looks like that goes in line with that other reading that I did. I feel like I have something in my contact. I swear, people don't want me to talk or see. That's interesting. So I'm going to pull this up, reshuffle, keep going. And I know it's been 44 minutes now, 45 basically. So, yeah, this video is going to be damn near an hour long, but I feel like we just got to get at these things, don't we? We just really do. We've got to get at these things. So let's shuffle again and see what else we can know about the United States 2024. I was like, oh, well, that's a good card. And then that card came and this card came. And I was like, well, you know, premature excitement. But... And I will put this here too. As we see a lot of like foreshadowing, foreboding, things like that that make people nervous. And some people might say like your readings are all negative or whatever. I do want to put out there that the majority of people that want to watch these videos and have these questions aren't asking what's going to be the most positive, fuzzy, warm, rainbowy thing to happen this year. They're like, listen here, where the rubber meets the road, what do I need to have a heads up about? Let me know in advance. I want to know shit in advance. I don't want to be blindsided. I want to have time to prepare. I want to know what to prepare for. I want to be able to plan. Let me know what I need a heads up on. That's what people come to me for a lot of times, both in these public readings and in private readings. And so they tend to look like they have a negative slant, but it's not because there's nothing positive that happens or that will happen. It's just that the guides here know that our focus is on preparation, problem solving, getting a heads up. A lot of people feel less anxious if they feel like they know what's coming. And so that's how we get information here and why it comes the way it does. So in all of these years, of course, there will be positives as well, but they just like to tell us this because this is how a lot of people are asking. So hopefully that makes sense to y'all. Anywho, I do see some positives in this year. They put that in here. They were like, okay, there's going to be plenty of things to celebrate about in 2024 for the United States. Plenty of things. So they're just letting people know, yes, that's involved. But they're wanting to tell us about these things to give us a heads up. So in relation to these things that we need a heads up about, we're going to have some major foundational events happen. This event, well, this could be more than one event, but with the Four of Wands in reverse, this is something that affects families. And so this can be when, you know, I hate to say it, when tragic stuff happens and it affects us as families, where we're like, you know, whether it's certain laws that are passed that affects us as families and we're kind of like, you know, not feeling great about it, or whether it's a tragic event like, I hate to say it, but, you know, school pew 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 kind of stuff that happens that makes us pull our families closer and things like that. There's certain things like that that are going to be big enough scale in 2024 that it feels like families are being affected, if not, I hate to say this, but it came up, I'm saying it, if not targeted, some type of way. And so it's good for us to have a heads up about that. Again, I don't think that we're powerless in this. I think that at all times we have some sort of decisions and choice available to us, but just as a heads up, that there can be some things like that are shaky for us. So putting that out there. Also here with the Star card in reverse, there's really two things that come to mind about this, and it's bizarre because they're not at all related, or, well, maybe they, who knows? In my head, they're not at all related. Who the fuck knows? Weirder things have happened. But there's two things. One, natural disasters, aliens. I know, I'm sorry, whatever. That those two themes will be cropping up a lot in the United States in 2024. For whatever reason, I do not know. I do not know, but natural disaster type events and extraterrestrial. So we may see an increase in the number of or severity of natural disaster type events, such as earthquakes, hurricanes, tornadoes, flooding, heat waves, droughts, fires, things like that. We may see an increase in the number of or severity of those in 2024 in the United States specifically. And also, there's something tying into an uptick in extraterrestrial stuff. Literally don't know why, and I don't know if for some reason that comes up as related. Both of those themes came up from that one card. I don't know if there's a reason why those two may somehow be tied in together in 2024. But I must be nervous enough about it. I'm just doing my trichotillomania literally on camera. I don't know that I've ever done that on camera before, and I literally just did that on camera. That really might be a first in like the freaking almost 4.5 years or so that I've been on this. It feels like 4.5. It's just over 4 years that I've been on this channel. I don't know that I've ever done that publicly. Wow, sorry. That just was a weird thing, and so I kind of got lost in my head with that. It's just strange to put those things on the same card. So I don't know if those somehow tie in together or if they are separate, and it's just that they thought this one card was a great twofer way to let me know that. But yeah, the idea of aliens kind of cropping up more. So I don't know if this is more sightings in 2024, more, I don't want to use the word disclosure because I know that that's a word that's very like specific and trippy in certain communities here, and you got to be careful about using that word, but kind of like compelling things coming out about ETs in 2024, and compelling sightings, and compelling synchronicities about ways to track events and things like that. So that'll be interesting. We might end up having its own video devoted to that. I don't usually get, a lot of viewers wanting videos about ETs, but the few that do really want videos about it. So it's interesting. It's like not very many people want it, but the ones that do want it bad. So we might end up going down that road at some point in 2024 here. We'll see. Y'all, this is a lot of shit. So let's get through this bottom row here. 5 of Swords upright, Strength card upright, Hermit card upright. So here, socially speaking, I think we're going to see a lot of people walking away from stuff. This feels like our social structure, our cultural structure, some type of way. So it's kind of abandoning ship. And I see that actually in a way that is strengthening, because it comes from a place of reflection. So let's say there were, certain things socially or culturally that were happening that it's like, wow, this is not good for these certain things to happen. I see a lot of people starting to reflect more and starting to wrestle with those ideas more in such a way that they start being like, you know what, I think this was misguided. I think we took something too far, or I think, whatever. Let's pull back from that and reassess. Like, I do see that kind of a theme happening more in 2024. Of course, there's always, with everything, what's that physics stuff? For every reaction, there is an equal and opposite reaction. So I do see that, socially and culturally, we're still going to see more extreme things on whichever end of the spectrum it's coming from. But I see a growth and I don't want to say an uprising of, because that sounds like volatile and I don't necessarily mean it in that way, but a growth of a certain population of people that feel like they've reflected on it more, wrestled on it more, and they're like, no, I think maybe that was, again, misguided. I'm gonna kind of push back from the table on that one. And I see that as a good thing. So hooray. At the end of this draw, we're seeing these things come as a good thing. So again, that can happen. That is possible here. We've got some good things that they wanted to end on a high note. I'm going to let that end on a high note because we've been going here for basically an hour. As always, I'm going to put a B-roll at the end of this video, silly puppy shenanigans of some sort that can be funny, make people laugh or smile, so that this long reading won't weigh you down, because some of it was hefty. So watch out for the B-roll there. If you made it to the end of this freaking hour, then let's see, put some sort of heart. We could do hearts of all kinds of different colors, whatever color fancies you today. Put some kind of a heart if you made it to the end, because this was a long one, and if you made it to the end, then wow, that's pretty incredible, because that's an hour of your time that you spent on this. So thank you for being here. I'll be coming at you soon with more videos. We've got things to discuss here on the channel. So don't be a stranger. Come back and see me, and I will talk at you later. Bye, love you, minute. Bye, love you, minute. Bye, y'all. Oh, okay. That's a big twist. Good morning. Good morning, son. Good morning. Wow, that was an awful lot. That was a lot. Let's see how you do with a hollowed out watermelon. Want to lick the hollowed out watermelon? Oh goodness, oh goodness. Oh, she's eating it. All right, now you're getting a little crazy with that rind. Okay. Okay, yeah, mommy got to intervene.